This is going to be as brief an analysis of the Karens of Pflugerville, Texas. First, I can actually pretty much spot the people that were born here and are mature. Maybe some of them, their children. You have to kind of separate by age here, but when I first came to Pflugerville, I was not in good shape. I had an attempted murder on me. So I spent a lot of time just sitting and waiting for the inflammation to go down. And I began to notice that there's actually many of them around mall areas. And actually, before I begin, I think actually a lot of the traffic management layout of Pflugerville is actually very good. It's forces people to drive on side streets before they enter into main deals. It keeps the backup, the congestion at the major intersections from becoming too deep. And I can spot like a native Texan and stuff, a mature native Texan who's probably born in Texas, is because right over there is one of the first opportunities or the closest opportunity, especially to if you come off of Dessau over there and gone to some business and you were trying to work your way back in by turning right at the intersection of Pflugerville Parkway and Dessau, FM 685. That's your first chance of getting back in. There's one just a little bit further up. You know how impatient the important entitled people are. But I've noticed that, like a native people that, if I'm quite sure by their behavior, the native Texans, they will stop at least 3 car lengths short of the car that's right where they come in. Right, they're allowed to enter right there to allow in at least one or more vehicles. They'll allow one in and another one to nose in. They allow in 2 people ahead of them. And I wish I had time to comment on here on how the study on how they've done, how even ambulances and cops stop at this intersection and wait because they know that it's easier. It doesn't save any time trying to push your way through heavy traffic. When it's heavy congestion, it's the same time as if they just wait for the light. You know, if they can't go around in the left turn lane, go pass up everybody, if people don't start pulling over automatically. And really, my judgment is based on what I've seen is almost all I'm going to tell you about. I'm really going towards one specific thing here. So I can tell by your style of driving that you're not from Texas and you're probably not even from this continent. You're from Europe or you're from Asia. You know, the way you drive. But anyway, it's just amazing. There's been so much. I can actually kind of tell when there's what's the term, demographic change in the population just by when the horn honking slows down. Oh, that's part of what being people from out of state, as the Maine say, people from away. Yeah, me and Martha. Is that actually there's a lot of people that come whooping around a corner where they really don't, and they're already hitting like 40 miles an hour in a car that's already cleared its parking space. They think that they have no right to block that narrow path, especially as people are rolling through the stop sign there and trying to there's 5 points converging right over there. And I've watched the behavior and analyzed the people. And it's really people who are not adopting Texas behavior. At least not, this is still technically a small town in Texas. It's 70,000 people. This ain't big city. This ain't Austin. This ain't New York City. These are not the roundabouts of New England or Europe. And one of the Pflugerville Karens, at least under that post, was responded, had a Chinese name that I don't think was real. I think somebody made that up because they didn't show any pictures of themselves. Then there was an actual Chinese guy talking smack, and they're all gone. I've already given you a warning. You can't come on my channel talking smack because I'm going to police my channel several times a day. That's further proof of all you hobo lovers that I know the formula. They've actually reduced it. You only have to have 1,000 subscribers now. It used to be 2,000. You've got to generate a certain amount of actual conversation. You got to not only have comments, you have to have people interacting between each other in the comments and so on. And the funny thing is that my most viewed, but because they know that I can't claim any profit on it or don't want to, I got one video on my original channel has 70,000 views. They've been running ads on it for years. Do I try to collect it? No. It's 1976 Fair Usage Act. I really am not entitled to it, even, really not entitled to any. And I don't meet the criteria to become monetized. And so you people are really stupid. Some of y'all are really stupid. Now I'm going to describe something I've seen literally 100,000 times minimum. A car will blow through the stop sign at Starbucks. And a car that's just whipped around the corner and is accelerating because they're coming down one of the side streets. They get past in front of, they're getting up to about 40 miles an hour, or sometimes, or they're even 20 or 30. And when they see somebody entering, rolling through the stop sign or something like that, or somebody trying to back out and stuff, they lay on the horn, but they don't tap their brakes. They don't hit the brakes until they're almost about to collide. That's New York, California, European, and Asian driving style. I know this isn't racism. This is an ethnological observation. Texas ethnic versus everybody else. And I'm not saying there ain't some rich ass Karens in this town that drive bad, but not compared to the people that I see that don't match the original population of Pflugerville. People that were, born here, 35, 45, 55, 65, 70 years ago. They don't stop there on that corner in front of Starbucks where a lot of door dashers do and block a fire zone. As nobody says much about it because it actually gets them out of the way of, they're really not, well, they do cause a bit of a problem. But the main thing I'm going to point out, I'm going into almost 9 minutes, is I can spot you if you're not a native Texan, because you think that horn is magic, that the other person is not deaf and can hear it. Deaf people are allowed to drive. Quite sure about that. And you just keep right on rolling. You don't hit the brakes until you're almost in contact with the other car. And that tells me all about your psychology. You come from the land of bullies. The Yankees of the Northeast, the bully, you're liberals too, or communists. You came from a communist country. A lot of the people that I've seen they were doing that shit. Mexico is a socialist nation. It's, in case y'all are not aware of that, y'all come from a place where breaking queue and just pushing your really rude cultures. You're never going to be a real Texan because you don't are not adopting our manners and our driving etiquette, which is we always stop at the stop signs. We allow other people to enter into traffic. We don't get into road rage, except the Texas meth heads. They get in a rage when their butt plug falls out and everybody can see it bulging in their pants. Please, come on. But you'll see this in Pflugerville. It tells me everything about your psychology, that you're willing to risk a crash in which you will be judged at fault, especially me being the witness. That's the first thing I'm going to tell the cops is they didn't even hit their brakes. They T-boned that car or rear-ended that car deliberately, willfully. If you think I won't drop a dime on you and testify against you, then you're not from here. Real Texans testify, even against their own kind. This is not some ghetto where snitches get stitches, and murderers get to walk free because I can't see a brother go to. Please, my best friend is a criminal defender. He knows he's probably going to lose the case if he ends up with actually, they almost never do that. If he has like an all-black jury and he's got a black man on trial for murder, he knows he's probably not going to win. It's happened to him a couple times, but it's pretty rare that he can't get at least one white person on there to at least hang the jury and get a mistrial. But I'm telling you, I can spot you Pflugerville Karens and stuff. You people that are techies that came here from some other place, some other country and shit, and you think you can park anywhere and do any fucking thing you want and stuff. Your driving is horrendous. Your driving shows me your psychology. You're bullies. You come from bully countries, and you're also the kind of people that are probably supporting the Palestinian. You're probably one of them pro-terrorist types too. Almost everyone that I've seen and gotten a good enough glimpse into their movements. I'm a very good analyst of people. They tend to be, most of the Karens in Pflugerville tend to be liberals, Biden voters. A few of them are some of them are kind of the matronly. There's wealthy, inherit a lot of land and money, and so I've seen it happen 100,000 times. You don't even slow down. You don't even look like you're taking your foot off the gas. You don't even tap the brakes to prevent a possible impact. And yet the other car just has to stomp on the gas to try to get out. And I've seen a 3-car, and actually the front car just went ahead and took off because he knew he only got a little bang. And the middle car and the back car, they got together and they go like, well, it's plastic, it's not too bad. And they didn't even exchange information and just went on about their way and stuff. Even though, the guy got rear-ended. I'm going 15. By the way, if you ever get rear-ended, don't ever tell anybody that you're okay or in any accident, because you're in shock. And I can tell you firsthand from having been rear-ended by a drunk who was doing 80 miles an hour when he finally kind of came to and realized I was parked at the red light, stopped at the red light. He was still doing about 50 on impact. That spinal fracture took 3 days to fully inflame and put me into paralysis and paralysis for over a year. Don't ever tell somebody after an automobile wreck because that can be, don't ever tell a cop that you're okay. Always go to the ER if you feel up to it, or as soon as the damage becomes apparent, take care of it. But I really kind of enjoyed all you pissed off, apparently young people getting angry at me for pointing out you're illegal, that you didn't understand that those streets around here are public easements. No parking, fire zone, towaway zone, handicap parking is still enforceable on private property. Or actually, this is a public easement. All these streets around here are public easements. The laws are fully able to be enforced. And I got a feeling that the way that Pflugerville PD was looking at me this morning, actually went through the drive-through there, because fortunately it's a fairly slow day at Starbucks, is they're well aware that I'm watching the fact that they're not cracking down on one of the tightest and one of the dangerous intersections here, because it's been at least 4 months since they've had any kind of impact or damage here. It's going to happen sooner or later, the way the way people drive here. It's going to happen. I've only seen driving like that on the West Coast, the East Coast, and in European films. I've never gone to Europe because my whole family's been there, and when they come back, they go, well, the French are rude, and most of Europe needs paint. It's really not all it's cracked up to be when you really get down to it. And I've pretty much seen Europe in travel logs and movies and stuff. And I'm of the opinion that the best genetics of Europe left a long time ago and came to America, especially among us English. So, and even the Germans, they came here. So much for the Karens of Pflugerville when you're driving. In that intersection there, at 685 Decile and Pflugerville Parkway, I have now seen, and it's the exact same spot every time. Somebody's swinging too wide or whatever, and exact same turn lane, same situation. One of them was so bad that knocked the vehicle all the way like off the road. I was the first one to call 911. Nobody had even called in yet. And if it's happening in the same spot exactly over and over again, that tells me it's not the metrics of the intersection, it's the fucking drivers.